أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلق وعز المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، على جميع أنبياء الله والمرسلين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His most beloved creatures, Muhammad and his family and his household, to make it easy on His ibad and to relieve the people from the stress and the stresses they are facing, and to grant us an efficient and valid and beautiful and happy solutions to the mounting problems that we are facing in the world today. I could tell you with confidence that most of the problems that we are facing today in our homes, in our countries, on the international level, it is the product of the bad policies that we have made ourselves. And it is the result of abandoning Allah and abandoning the course that the God and the Lord have set for us to follow. On the individual level and on the family level and on the community level and on the state level and on the national level and on the international level. When I look at the Quran and I read the ayat that are very clear, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us the situation we are facing or we are about to face as humans, and He prescribes a wonderful solution for our problems, and He offers His help and His support and His relief. And yet, we turn our back on Him and we refuse to follow not only His commands, but His proposals and suggestions. Because in the Quran there are commands that we understand commands that represent obligation towards God. But there are also other invitational requests that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying it in a sense that if you do this, it is better for you. If you cooperate among each other, it will be more beneficial for you. If you choose the course of peace to resolve your problems, then the result will be more fruitful to everyone who is involved. And that is something natural and something ethical, and something rational, and that is what we call common sense. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Holy Book of Al-Quran, I have sent this book and I have mentioned every issue that is important to you as a human, and I have prescribed the course for your satisfaction and for your happiness. And in the process of pursuing this course that's called in the Holy Book, the straight path, as-sirat al-mustaqim, every effort that you make, every sweat that you produce, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will count it as a good deed and will multiply it for you in your bank of good deeds in this life and the hereafter. And the best investment that we could make in our life is the investment with Allah. Because when we do one good deed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us with 10. And when we mess up and we make a mistake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will count it as 1. And when we give out of what Allah gave us, when we give out of our talents and out of our wealth and out of our abilities and out of our strength and money and time and the qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had bestowed upon us, when we share it with others and when we give it for the sake of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will multiply our deeds by 700 times and will multiply our money by 700 times at least. مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء. The example of those who spend their money for the sake of God to help others is similar to the example of one seed produce 7 bushels. In every bushel, 700 seeds. So one seed would lead to 700 seeds. $1 you give for the sake of God to help others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will count it for you and He will put it on your bank of your good deeds in the dunya and in al-akhirah 700 times. And it's not only that. Al-ayah ended with a wonderful statement. وَاللَّهُ يُضَاعِفُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will multiply the reward to a certain people that He chose. That's above the 700 in return. I don't think you would find a better investment with Allah. I don't think you would find a better investment than this investment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When I have time and I could benefit the other, when I give part of my time, when I have power, when I give part of my power, when I have influence, when I share part of this influence, when I have money, when I give some of this money, despite the fact that I love what I have, and I love the money that I get as a human, when I give out of what I love, this is the ultimate goodness and ultimate good deed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall reward us on it. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will not achieve a status of goodness with respect to Allah until you spend out of what you love and out of what you desire and out of what you love to possess. In that sense, we are going through exceptional circumstances where we have a pandemic that is invading the world and it's putting our country, crippling our country to its knees and consuming billions of dollars to address this problem. And yet, we don't see the response that needed in order to address this problem is far short from what's supposed to be done. And we are calling Friday after Friday for people to cooperate in every level, in every arena. On the political one, the political leaders need to leave their tit-for-tat problems and put it on the shelves. And they need to concentrate on finding a solution with the help of God as a cure to this pandemic virus. We need to work and cooperate with those people in the world whose their specialties can expedite a vaccine to this virus. And we should do it for the sake of God. And we should put the effort based on the benefit of all mankind. This is the time for people to show their heroic efforts to bring a solution. And this is the time to show our excellent human qualities that Allah installed in our innate nature to work out together and to cooperate for the sake of the well-being and the general interest and the goodness of all others. All the people who are experts in the medical field from across the globe, they need to work together. The people who are decision makers in the United States of America, we heard the speeches before. We want to work for our country, we want to work for America. This is the time that we need to work for America and for the whole world to bring a solution to this problem. And when we do not work with others, and when we do not assume the leadership that we are given based on justice and peace, to make them fall on their knees because they don't do what we tell them to do. What is the purpose of spreading false information and instigating violence and instabilities in countries in order to dominate them? Why can't we cooperate as leaders to bring peace and justice? I'll give you a simple example. The Washington Post, a couple of days ago, Washington Post wrote an article, take an example about Lebanon. Lebanon is suffering from this pandemic and is suffering from economic disasters. And the financial system is about to collapse for many reasons, several reasons, important reasons, internally, locally, nationally, and internationally. But when we read in the Washington Post that $800 billion was smuggled out of the country to the European Bank and to the US Bank by these corrupted politicians, that they made this money illegally and illegitimately, and by using corruptive measures and by dominating the sources of the public national resources for their own pockets, which represents corruption and which represents a treason to the responsibility that they have sworn in front of their people to carry it. Bankrupted the whole country in order to fill their pockets with the approval of the world powers, with the approval of the US politicians and decision makers, with the approval of the European governments. How does that work when we strip a country from its national resources and we take $800 billion out of it and smuggle it to the Swiss banks in the name of corrupted politicians? How much money we need in order to survive? When a rich man masses billions of dollars, and when he is about 60 and 70 years old, how many billions you need? What is your life expectancy? We are in the process of burying somebody either tomorrow or Monday, reach the age of 70-something. What does he take with him? All what he have worked for, all the properties that we mass, all the money that we gather and save, all the houses and the real estates that we invest in, all the wealth that we build, all the money that we hide and save, when the angel of death comes to take our soul, What do we take with us? Do we take them? Do we put what we have massed and gathered and saved in our grave? What do we take with us? According to our Islam and according to our religion and according to Christianity and all heavenly religions, we only take our faith and our conduct and the product of what we have done, and that what will determine our fate and our outcome in the next life. And the millions and the billions that we mass, somebody else will take it, spend it, rightfully so or wrongfully so, in the right way or in the wrong way, in a productive way or in ill-fated way. So why do we mass all these wealth? Why we steal the national resources? It's like stealing public money. Those people who are working, Lebanese citizens, Iraqi citizens, Syrian citizens, Venezuelan citizens, African citizens, they work night and day to support their families, legitimately and legally, and they play by the rules. And they get paid by their national monetary units. And they get paid a fixed salary. And all of a sudden, the rate of the exchange changes to the point where the national monetary value loses its value. Dollar was equivalent to 1,500 Lebanese pound. It shoots in the black market to 10,000. And with it, everything shoots up. And all the people who have their life saving is gone. Their hard work saving disappeared. What do we call that? If this is not theft, then what is the definition of theft? When most of those people, they speak about Islam and they speak about human values and they speak about ethics and they speak about trustworthiness and they talk about Imam Ali alayhi salam as a public official, as a leader, as a president, as a Khalifa, when he was in the Ministry of Finance, in the central bank that is called Baytul Mal, when someone came to talk to him, and it was night time, and he said to him, "May I speak to you? May I talk to you?" Then Al-Imam Ali alayhi salam responded, "Do you want to talk to me in a subject that concerns the affairs of the state? Is it related to issues that has to do with the government, with the general interest of people?" He said, "No, I came to discuss with you a personal matter." He said, "Then let's go outside because I cannot let this candle lit. When this candle light is lit under the expense of the money that belongs to the public, that belongs to the state, that belongs to the citizen of the state, I cannot use it for personal problem." He puts it off and he goes outside in order to discuss the man's personal problem, not at the expense of the state resources. Washington Post claimed 800 billion was smuggled out of Lebanon, small country. 800 billion. Some of these corrupted officials, before they came to run and before they became politicians, they were normal people. They were living normally. They were average citizens. They were speaking about reform. They were talking about democracy. They were talking about helping others. And some of them remained in power for many decades and amassed enormous wealth and dominated the national resources. Billions. And the Washington Post is saying, enough smuggled from the central bank and from the banks overseas enough to pay the country's debt and to fill the national reserve and to give every Lebanese citizen $60,000. And now the country is collapsing. They don't even have the basic money and the basic dollar to pay for their basic needs, for electricity, for gas, for fuel, for the hospitals to run, for the ministries to run, for the people to live and sit with their own family. With the limited salaries that they have, people are no longer affording the basic, secure nourishment and food that they need. How can someone be a politician anywhere in the world when he does not think about what we call al-amn al-ghizai, the food security issues? How many rivers there is in this country? How many acres of land are left unused? Why the resources are being plundered like that? Speaking of Colombia, the longest civil war in history. Speaking of Africa. Speaking about our relationship as countries with each other. Isn't it time that we cooperate? Isn't it time that we change the course? Isn't it time that we seek approach to work under the command of God when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى, cooperate for goodness, for the general benefit of everyone. Spread peace and security and prosperity. Why don't we do that? What's stopping us from doing this? Why we are referring to policies that it's not going to produce anything except pain and suffering to others? What is the use of putting economic sanctions when the states put economic sanctions against each other, when they need to work together, when they need to cooperate, when they need to address the problem that exists today? We should take our arrogance and put it on the shelves, and we should be humble towards each other, and we should work for the sake of the humanity, and we should go back to Allah and God, and we should work, all of us, religious, non-religious, Muslims, Christians, Jews, humanists, human activists, to work together to end this terrible suffering that's going on in the world, where people are facing poverty, ignorance, and hunger. And for us Muslims, let us see, what are we facing off? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We are weak and we are not little in numbers. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us to be united, and we are not united. We are, as Muslims in the world, there is a great deal of ignorance among the Muslims. And in the Quran, Allah addressed this, and the very first word that God asks us to do is to what? Educate ourselves. Read. Iqra. The very first command to read. Do we read? I'm talking about percentage-wise. How many of us read? How many of us know the facts about their own religion? When it comes to prosperity and economic prosperity, God has set the concept of az-zakat and al-khums. And for those who are able to work and pay their obligation in order to help those who are not able to work, and those who have no abilities can have that abilities in order to produce. Al-Quran talk about it. Our religion is the religion of az-zakat and the contribution, and we are not generous. Our religion is the religion of unity and power based on peace and justice, and we are weak and mustadafun. Our religion is based on knowledge and common sense, and seeking all sort of branches of knowledge. ديننا دين العلم ونحن جاهلون. And most of us are ignorant. Why? And this call is for everyone. All the world leaders. If there is a time where the world leaders need to work together to help each other, this is the time. This is the time to change our policy, because if we don't, the outcome is terrible. And nobody will benefit. The structure will fall on everyone. And everyone will suffer. And at the wrongdoing of our own hands. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the power and the inspiration to face our mishaps and our mistakes, and to seek forgiveness from God, and to give us the power to correct the passage, and to correct the reform, and to correct the walk and the efforts towards the straight path. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم عجل ظهور وليك الفرج بوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه. اللهم ارحم موتانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا. اللهم اغني فقراءنا. اللهم من على نسائنا بالعفة والعلم والأخلاق، وعلى رجالنا بحسن التدبير، وعلى ذرياتنا بالبركة والتوفيق. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.